Right.
Yep, here comes the tweets. Late.
Starting the stream.
Uh,
Your event is starting.
I better go to the YouTube so I can see.
And we're live.
Are we for reals?
I am so live right now.
You don't sound very live.
I'm exhausted. Last night I stayed up playing games last night later than I have in years.
Dude, I watched a car. Okay, I don't want to hear about it.
Oh man, you must have really brought yourself to the red zone.
Dude, you saw the filth that was on that car. Washing that one car is like washing like 12 normal cars.
Dude, that wasn't filth. That was life.
I know, seriously. I had like a whole colony of new life forming on it. I even had a snail crawl out of the hood scoop, which is kind of funny.
What? Why are we holding on?
I gotta mute the show.
Oh.
Oops.
I'm like, why are we waiting?
Hold on, everybody. Hold on.
Everyone, please stand by. Oh man, no, I'm exhausted because I installed and played Grand Theft Auto 5 yesterday, and I was hooked.
It's a good game. It's a really, really good game. One of the few games I'm going to play through again.
I'm not sure I'll say good.
You know, unless you're into, murder and prostitution and car theft.
Ed looks like he could take a crowbar to a lady to get his money back, if you know what I'm saying. I mean that in the most loving way, Ed.
Yeah, but to me, the game that's got me here lately is Plague Incorporated.
Is that an indie game?
Yeah, isn't it Plague? Yeah, Plague
Incorporated. Okay, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
You get to be the villain, and you get to make the plague that destroys mankind.
Yeah.
And so I'm playing it the first time the other day, and my wife comes back, and she said, "Do you realize what you're saying?" And I'm like, "What do you mean?" She said, "You're screaming and cheering that people are dying in," and then she threw out a country name. And I'm like, "Yeah, I got them. They're going down. It's going to work. It's going to work." And she said, "Your window's open." And I'm like, "Oh my God, people are walking down the street. They think I'm a bioterrorist."
Yeah, it's like America Simulator.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty funny. People are walking by and you're like, "Yes, I just detonated the bomb. The agent is spreading rapidly." And then the people are like, "Oh shit, we better keep walking."
Yeah.
No, introductions wise, guys, we have Ed back on since he was having so many technical difficulties last time.
Yeah, we're crossing fingers.
and toes and other appendages are being crossed this very moment.
Anything that can be crossed at this point.
Yeah, I was going to say, I can't cross too many other appendages.
It takes modification. If you don't modify, then...
Well, it's always good to have Ed on,
right.
we support that AMD poor people community.
We're going to go ahead and roll that intro, and we're going to let Ed take it away since he actually has a set of pipes on him.
Oh my God, Ed, let's sing again?
Yeah, it's a tradition, and rolling the intro. Ed, sing!
Come on, Ed!
It's not... Okay. It's time for the early edition of Tech Talk. We're going to go early today so we can all go to bed at a reasonable time.
I'm learning that we need a virtual stick to poke Ed with.
Yes.
We do.
Well, the problem is I don't see it pop up because I've got the stream over here. This is the thing I hate about streaming gameplay. I look over, and if I don't erase the actual video, I get lost in the game.
Yeah.
Because I'm looking over there, and you see, this is freaking me out because I'm looking at Jay here on Skype, and we've got this Jay. Here's the face. So we got this J face here
because it's just a static image,
and all I've got's Jerry to talk to, and then I look over, Jay's moving over here, and it's confusing.
I used to hook up a second camera, but I just got too lazy to keep hooking up the second camera.
Ed's our resident old person.
Yes, I am.
He's like, technology, what? Hunt and peck, technology.
Dude, remember, I was doing this crap when you were still in diapers. Leave me alone.
Jerry's still in diapers.
This crap while I was still in diapers.
How old are you, Jerry?
35.
35.
And he's still in diapers, so...
I'm still in diapers to this day.
Let's see, so it's... Oh my God. I've seriously been computer gaming almost as long as you've been alive.
That is insane.
Did they have computers? They had computer games back when Jesus was around?
Back in the early days, there was a system called Plato out of the University of Illinois. It was a mainframe connected by cabling literally to like 30 campuses in the U.S., to South Africa, Great Britain, New Zealand, Australia. So I was online gaming. There wasn't an online yet, and I was online gaming.
I have Play-Doh, but it's not a computer. It's just it gets in the carpet and it makes a mess.
No, not Play-Doh, Plato.
Is this like before Al Gore
wasn't that
created
an
the internet?
astrologist or a philosopher?
Yes, this is before Al Gore.
I thought Plato was like an astrologist or a philosopher. Yeah, philosopher. That's right.
See, Ed, I only go back to the days before the internet where we had bulletin board systems with like Renegade and
Yes.
Telewar.
I did that too.
BBS.
I did all that too.
Yeah, I had 3 BBSs growing up, and my first one was 1200 baud, second one was 2400 baud, and then I got 14.4, and I was like, yeah, now I'm styling. And then the internet came out, and I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna do that.
I go back to the 300 baud.
You go back to where you actually set the handset of
Actually,
the phone
150.
on the modem.
I actually had one of those.
Oh my God.
You guys are going to kick out of this. It was like my first computer ever. And I found this great bulletin board in Dallas, Texas. And I live in Illinois. And for some reason in my mind, I don't know why my head didn't think of this, long distance bill. And so I'd log on every night for like an hour and get on for an hour.
Oh,
and
crap.
go do stuff and talk to people and play the online or play the little games they have on the bulletin board and download files. And my mother got the first phone bill. Oh my God!
Oh,
did
yeah.
I get beat?
Oh yeah. No, I used to dial. I was on a network called. You remember FidoNet?
Yes.
So FidoNet was like before the internet. The way people did the messaging boards is every night the
Yep.
bulletin boards would all call each other in series on a schedule and trade messages back and forth. So it was like
Right,
as slow as the
they
real
did
mail system. Like it'd take a week to get a response from like New York. And I remember on the old FidoNet, I was a part of FidoNet on one of my bulletin boards. So every night I would call Seattle, which was long distance from where I lived at the time, and it would have to call up and then log in and then do the sync up and then drop the connection. And so it only had to do that like once every night, but still it was enough to make the long distance bill go up by like 10 or 15 bucks a month. And when my mom found out, oh, she was livid. She's like, I don't know all these calls. She's all arguing with the person on the phone. I was like, no, I made those calls. She's like, what? You don't call anybody in Seattle. And I had to like explain to her like what a modem is.
You know what happened? What happened with those bulletin boards? I don't recall trolls being like they exist today.
No, not
Trolls
really,
were a
'cause it was-
rare
But
thing.
that was because most of the time kids didn't have access to that stuff then.
There
I
was
was
no
a
instant
kid.
gratification either. That was
Yeah.
the thing it's like with trolling, you kind of want that instant gratification. On FidoNet, if you have to wait a week for somebody to see the "you're fat" message, it's not worth it.
Yeah. Well, like all the people who with terrible internet complaining that the stream keeps freezing, right? They wouldn't be able to get their message out. So
I remember there was always the adult bulletin board systems too, where you could log in, create an account, and then lie about your age. And then you
Yeah.
like, fire up old Z-Mode and just download like crazy. Like one image would take like 25 minutes to download, and it'd be like 644, 8256 color GIF.
Jerry, I never did porn on the computer. Never.
I'm sure you didn't.
I never did porn.
I'm sure
I
you
was a
did,
good
bro.
boy.
Yeah, I'm sure you were.
Listen to Mom. I was a good boy. I don't know. My
The,
mom.
se- the second you have access to a modem and you log in, it's like, are you 18 to enter this section? You hit that Y. Dude, it's a slippery slope. You're game over. I remember this one bulletin board system called the Sticks that I used to call up, and the admin would always pull me into chat. You remember how like the system admin could just do something to just pull you into the little chat thing? And every time he pulled me into the chat, I would just instantly just disconnect because I'd get scared. I'd be like, oh my God, they're on to me.
This is Jay. How you know you're old? I was talking to this young guy, I guess about 18, 19 years old at a LAN party, and we were talking about porn of all things.
Mhm.
And I made a comment about how we used to get so excited when we get the Playboy and open up and look at pictures. And he said, "Forget that picture crap. If it ain't video, what's the point?"
You should have replied back with, "You're a spoiled brat," and just smack him.
He is. I mean, they all are. Now porn is free. You don't have to go sneak to steal a Playboy magazine or pay for the subscription and lie about who you are.
You don't even have to
just go on
search
the
for
internet.
it.
It's free. You don't have to
Search for like toast and it comes up.
And what's funny though is now with the information at everyone's fingertips, everyone's pretty much stupider than they were 10 years ago.
It's weird. They're stupider in common sense areas, but smarter in overall dissemination of information. Like anybody can find anything about anything on the internet, but because of that, nobody actually just learns it and commits it. to
Yeah,
memory.
because they only have that momentary knowledge and then they forget it 14 minutes later. They also
Because they
forget
can
how
go
to
get
pee,
it
poop, and
in
tie their
30
shoes.
It's so true, man. Dude. I
Hey,
have
how do
days
you-
like that.
How do you put in a screw? Okay, now I put in the screw. I don't need this skill anymore. But wait, 2 clicks later and I've got it back. So
Careful putting in the word "screw" on.
I got it with this audience. Yeah.
Yeah, just be careful, especially on Bing.
Yeah, I really think they should raise the legal age of the EULA to like 22 years old, and even then it might still be too young.
Like anybody,
Who came up with?
Legitimately goes, "Oh crap, I'm not 18 yet." Nope, I'm not. And then
No, 13. I don't know how they came up with that number, that magic number of the internet for 13, but 13 10.
Really?
Yeah, you need to be 13 to enter into an internet usage agreement. Like you have to be 13 to go to like most websites and stuff. That's if you click the I accept.
That's awful young. That's awful young.
I don't know how they came up with 13, but I think 23 or 22 is still too young in many instances.
It's depending on the person. 30 is too young.
Some of us at 50 are too young.
Yeah. Well, maturity-wise, yes, absolutely.
Oh, hey, Archie over in chat asked which headphones I'm wearing. The HD 800s, baby. Oh, today I'm showing off a bit.
Why aren't you wearing the HD 900s?
Because I don't have them.
They don't even exist. I just want to see what you would do.
I was going to say, like, I've never heard of these. But then again, Sennheiser might have told you something. I don't know.
Okay, so they just asked now what I've got. Okay, so I've got the HD, what is it, 598s, are they? Something like that from Sennheiser?
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember which ones they are. They're relatively inexpensive. They're about $80.
Wait, we're all rocking Sennheiser cans today?
Yeah.
Oh,
baby.
yeah, technically we are, aren't we?
I feel like we should get a payment or something. Sennheiser,
tell
you listening?
Sennheiser we need money.
We need money.
I need to grab something else real quick. This is
Hashtag
starting to do. Wait, everyone put on your gunners. We need that check too.
Oh yeah, hold on.
I don't wear gunners.
Grab my gunners here.
Mine are in the backpack over there.
There they are. All right, there we go.
Douchebag mode engaged.
Sellout mode engaged.
No, I say douchebag mode, but that's only because I own the pair too. Oh man,
my screens just got bigger.
Oh yeah, because of the like
the slight
0.5x magnification.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was playing Grand Theft Auto 5 just before we started the stream. Actually, I was playing it for like an hour.
Game sucks you in.
It does suck you in, but you know what I love are all the little like world events that happen around you. Like I was actually driving around obeying traffic laws just to see if I could like obey the traffic laws, right?
Yep.
And so I hear this lady get robbed. She's like, "Oh my God, he took my purse!" And so the dude's taken off, and he's a red dot on the map. And I chase him down, and I finally sprint. Or actually, I ran him over with the car first, and he got up and then started running again. So I hit him in the back of the head and then like curb stomped him. This is like great games, guys. This is like life lessons here. So I curb stomped the guy, take the purse, and it gives me plus $500. And I'm like, ooh, there was money in there. And it was like, you can go and return the purse for a potential greater reward. I'm like, oh, okay. So I go over there. She takes all the money and is like, thanks, and runs off. So I chase her down and then I beat her and take her purse.
That's how you play GTA, man. That's
so I got all the money back.
Wow.
No, Trevor
suddenly,
makes that game, though. He totally makes that game.
Suddenly, I feel like going outside and mugging old ladies. Be right back.
Yeah, because games really like influence.
Is there a character later named Trevor? Because my guy's name is Franklin.
Oh, you haven't gotten to Trevor yet. You wait, man. Trevor
okay.
makes the whole. Yeah, because you have Michael, you have Trevor, and you have Franklin, and Trevor is like the batshit crazy meth head guy.
Yeah,
and he is nuts. Like
is he the guy in the wife beater?
Yeah, he's the guy in the white beater.
He's the guy in the splash screen when it's loading, right?
Yep. And you'll play him at some point, but his storyline is like beyond crazy.
Yeah.
Like it makes the other two characters seem completely tame.
For a minute there, I thought that like my guy was I felt kind of racist for a minute there, and I didn't like it because I went to get a new hairdo because of course, what's his face in the beginning was like, "Nah, your haircut, ain't gonna get you laid, son," blah blah blah. I'm like, okay, so I go to the barbershop, I get a haircut, and the only free haircut's an afro. So I didn't want to spend any money to get any other haircuts. Like it's like the cornrows and all those other haircuts that are available were like $150 or $40.
The afro is free.
The afro is free. So now I feel like, well, this is just completely stereotypical.
Did you see the voiceover I did to our Grand Theft Auto playthrough for Sapphire? It's on the YouTube channel.
Oh, dear God, no.
Wait, Sapphire is a YouTube channel?
Yeah, Sapphire's a YouTube channel. We did a gameplay voiceover where I kind of talk about the game and we show it in action. And I made a comment that I want that barber. The reason why is, that woman is better than the hair club for men. She took him with his face clean shaven and gave him a beard instantly. I need her to work on my widow's peak.
Yeah, true story.
Yeah, it was funny because that was what I noticed. I'm like, wait, she like pulled the hair out of his head to make the afro.
Yeah, it's totally cool.
Yeah, just wait until you get to Trevor, man. Like I can't believe you haven't gotten there yet because it changes the whole game. Like, because everything that happens with Trevor through the rest of the game is just gonna make you like cringe and be like, "Holy shit, I can't believe they took it that far." He's nuts.
Yeah, are you gonna play it on PC?
I'm going to. I'm gonna do my second playthrough on PC.
Is there any way other to actually play it well?
Well, you know, I don't like over-the-shoulder type of games, and that was one of the reasons why I never played it on the console, even though I had my Xbox. But so the moment I started the very first mission, you know, which is kind of like the tutorial, you know, the bank heist.
Yeah.
I immediately went into first-person mode, and I haven't come back. I haven't gone out of that mode. Period.
See, I didn't play it first person on the console because it just felt weird. Like driving was really really weird.
Yeah.
From first person, so I just left it in third person throughout the whole game. But no, it is absolutely. It's probably one of my favorite, if not my favorite, all time games that just pulled me in. But the biggest problem with it was it took me a while to beat it because of course I can't play it when Xander's around. Obviously. You know, can't have a 5-year-old that parrots and repeats everything that's said to him. You know, listening to Trevor talk about his mom.
You know what's funny is I was driving around the map and all of a sudden I see the little stiletto heel on the map. I'm like, So I kind of drive over there and I get out and I walk in. I'm like, oh, it's a strip club, and I'm like, I wonder how real it gets. And after a couple of minutes, I was like, I'm gonna go over here and shut the door real quick because I don't want little Jay waking up and coming in.
Getting a lap dance, and you're like, okay, this is real.
I got thrown out.
You did it from first person perspective, right?
I got thrown out though because apparently I was a little too touchy feely.
I'll tell you what. One of the funnest things that
oh my god, more than I wanted to know.
You have to wait until the bouncer walks away.
I learned that when I went back in for the dance the next night, and then I ended up getting like a double dance, and I couldn't see the bouncer anymore. And he's like, "That's it, you're out of here," and like chucked me out of my face.
No, you can do some crazy stuff in that game. Like you can actually fly your helicopter into the strip club, fire rockets at the front of the strip club, and just take out all the bouncers. Land your helicopter, run inside. Kill everybody in the place, go back behind the stage, kill everybody, steal everybody's money, and run out the front door, get in your helicopter, and take off before the military force gets there. Because you'll have like 4 stars.
So
you just run out and you get in your helicopter, and then you take off, and then next thing you know, you got like 14 Tomcats scrambled, like take you down.
Isn't 5 stars the military? Because 4 stars was the SWAT.
No, you're right. It's five stars when you get.
Because I did do pretty good at holding myself off against the police, and next thing I know, I was getting rammed with Suburbans with SWAT team hanging off the side of it.
Yeah, I think the only time you get you're right. It's the 4 stars when you get the SWAT response with the helicopters. The only time you get military response, I think, is when you breach military space.
Oh, so like the military base and stuff?
Yeah, like the military space or the prison. I think if you breach the prison, you get 5 stars too. But yeah, there's certain places on the map where if you even just fly over them with a helicopter, like the restricted airspace, if you fly over those areas, instantly aircraft are scrambled to come shoot you down. You basically have to just bail out and go run into the woods.
I heard that you can fly like the 747 and stuff in there if you go to the airport.
You can fly anything. You can even get on they have in one of the hangars is just a regular like Learjet. And you can go jump in the Learjet and fly it if you want to. But the thing is, usually you get shot down or destroyed before you can get off the runway. It's pretty hard to just jump in and take off.
Shoot down the Lear?
They'll shoot anything down. They'll shoot the 747 down.
I'm thinking about doing like an after party and doing some streaming of GTA 5 between this and PKA, since I told people a few weeks back I was going to be on PKA tonight. So before that stream, I was thinking about maybe doing like an after party and just playing it like sandbox mode.
I think it'd be a good warm up for you.
What is every other word is fuck.
Exactly. Just the whole thing is talking about hookers. I mean, PKA, you know, you'll start off with some intelligent conversation. Next thing you know, it'll be like ethics of beating hookers and taking their money. And it'll be awesome. You should start that story, actually. That'd be a good story for you to start in that episode.
I can contribute. I have something to contribute to the party.
I think that would be the funniest thing ever. Like sit around and talk about like, you know what, there is, if you think about it from Franklin's perspective, it does make sense to choke her and take her money. I'm just saying, you know, it just makes sense.
As opposed to what other method?
Or Trevor. I don't want to ruin anything, so I won't talk about Trevor because you got to experience him firsthand.
Okay.
And again, this is why I don't play Grand Theft Auto 5.
And this is the only game I've enjoyed recently.
Just wait until you're gonna discover a character called Raspberry Jam. That's all I'm gonna say.
Jay, we need to get you guys. We need to get you guys on War Thunder, dude. I got the guys from over at Code 10 on War Thunder the other night flying for the first time. We had a blast.
Oh, I'd love to play War Thunder. Actually, I just picked up a yoke too. I actually have like a legitimate flight yoke for my desk.
Cool.
Are you yoking me?
I'm yoking you, son. No, I've got the yoke like for flying like the Cessnas and the
the
single engine
Stay Tech
aircraft, and then I've also got the stick and the dual throttle group and pedals for doing the other stuff.
Which stick and throttle you get?
It's the G960 setup.
Okay.
So yeah, it's force feedback joystick, and then it's got the 2 throttle groups that you can connect together.
Poovy's wanting me to talk about the 390.
Do it. Let's hear about it.
Okay. The 390 is an interesting number. That's as much as I can tell you.
It's not quite 400, and it's more than 380.
Can you tell us this is it better? Is it better or worse than Nvidia's offering?
I can't. If I could tell, I wish I could. The truth is, I physically haven't seen these yet.
Oh man, they're even holding out on you. Do they even exist? Maybe they don't.
No, they exist. They exist.
Oh, there you go. Confirmed.
Confirmed. Half-Life 3.
Okay,
confirmed.
there you go. They exist.
Half-Life 3 confirmed. Sapphire only. It's only
The
going to support
300 series video cards exist. There's my confirmation.
Wait, I'm gonna flash something on the screen real quick. You guys won't see it, but you'll see it in the replay. Okay, there.
God, here we go.
That's it.
What did you flash?
This is what happens when
You might not want. If you have a
anything.
weak stomach, you might not want to look at that. That's
Oh
all I'm
Lord,
gonna
now I'm gonna be.
Is it me? Is it me in the yard chair shirtless again? Because that comes up every episode.
Oh no, that's later. That's when that's not
Tell
so
me
after
it's
the
not
show
the
is
poop
derailed.
hat. Tell me it's not the poop hat.
I do want to play some War Thunder though.
It's fun.
Dude, you flashed that so quick I couldn't even see what the hell it
What
was.
the crap was it?
Exactly, that's the point.
It was a blur.
It's kind
Can
of
somebody
the
go
point.
back and
Flash?
pause and tell us what that was?
Someone said it's a 5990. There wasn't a 5990, I don't believe.
Dude,
Oh,
I
was-
got,
or
I
was
got
it? That-
two
they-
980s. It's
'cause
all you need.
they
You
started-
don't need more.
They started doing the dual GPU cards with what, like the 4870 X2? I think
That
it was.
sounds right. It was.
Yeah.
I think it was the
Sorry.
4000 series when we started doing the dual cards. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's funny. Everyone's calling it the 7990. No, actually, guys, it's a Fire Pro W9000 X2, which is what they made into the 7990, the ones that didn't perform
Right.
well. So this is a Fire Pro Graphics W9000 X2. Not a cheap card, even by today's standards, even though it's a Tahiti card. So.
Well, there's with the Fire Pro, you're paying less for the hardware and more for the certifications.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the deal. It's the same thing with everybody that does a professional level cards. It's about the time and the certifications to make sure everything works perfect without flaw.
Mm-hmm. But that's what everyone's like. But it looks like a 7990. Well, they basically use the same cooler on it because it's the same board.
Yeah.
So. Yep. So Ed and I actually wanted to talk about something tech related today.
Holy cow!
By all means.
No, that's right. We don't talk about tech. We need to go back onto the hookers and blow conversation.
There you go.
Diamonds and gold.
Diamonds and gold.
Just wait till you get the flamethrower, man. The flamethrower is the best weapon, like by far.
Now, hold on real quick.
Yeah.
Mir has asked for me to give a Zen APU teaser. Okay, here you go. Sapphire will have the best APU ever made. There you go. That's all I can say. We don't make APUs.
Exactly. But because you're and don't forget, guys, the AMD GPU board partners and stuff, they're not on the down or the need to know of the CPU stuff.
No. And in fairness, you'll find that what happens with the GPU stuff, guys, is a little insight into the way this works. The PR people, okay.
Yeah, I'm sure they would go backwards a generation or two for the new generation stuff, right?
The PR people don't find out anything until almost to launch.
Well, now you know how the Nvidia fiasco happened.
Yes, it did. Okay, there are so many mountains being made out of molehills that I'm getting sick of it. Sometimes I'm upset with the job I have.
Yeah.
And
well, because you're on a side and you have to be, and it sucks because people want to pull you into the fights and the battles and the arguments.
I won't get into the fights. The fights aren't worth the trouble. Jay and I had talked about this. The one in particular we was going to talk about. So Freesync monitors are here. I've got the LG and I've got the BenQ models here. I'm actively using them. I love them. Great monitors. They look fantastic. They perform exactly the way they're supposed to. But there are a couple of areas that are getting a lot of attention, and unfortunately, it's getting more attention than it deserves. I think the one that deserves the most of people to shut up about is the whole ghosting issue. So I was telling Jay, I got to look at this, and here's what I found with my own testing. Jay, you tell me if your testing bears this out. In gameplay, there wasn't a ghosting issue. The games looked good. They ran smooth. They did what they were supposed to do.
Yeah.
But if you run the demo, there was ghosting. Now, so
Yeah, but you know what's funny about that though?
Wake up,
is,
Jerry.
You know what's funny about that though is even at CES where I was watching the demos where the FreeSync monitors first went on display, I didn't notice ghosting even in those demos though.
I don't think anybody was really looking. You have to actually look to see it. It's not like, oh my God, look at the ghost.
I ain't afraid of the ghost.
It's kind of like these ghost hunter movies. What was that? What was that? It's kind of like that with the ghosting.
Well, people become hypersensitive when they're pointed to it.
Right. So what's happened is if you look at this demo and you run it on a FreeSync monitor, you see the ghosting. But here's a news flash, folks. I ran it on a bunch of monitors that aren't FreeSync, including one that's G-Sync, and there was still ghosting.
Well, there still becomes a point where refresh rate matters, and let's face it, right now, this moment, or I'm not saying not refresh rate, response time. There becomes this very moment. FreeSync monitors do not have the same response time as a lot of the non-FreeSync and G-Sync monitors, so that does play into it.
I'm not a super heavy Twitch gamer, so I'm going to have a hard time responding to that because the science. I think sometimes we get so caught up in the science that we forget it's about the experience, and this is something that Jerry can get involved in with. Because let's take the science for just a second and then kick the other way.
For science.
Scientifically, you can take various apparatus and give me the exact molecular count of oxygen in the air around me. But if that difference varies by...
Can we do that after you fart?
Yeah, if that difference varies...
that will affect the results.
by half a percentage point, it doesn't really affect real life. And I think we spend so much time looking for what we can quantify, we forget what is real. To give you an example that's easier, because Jerry's been showing car porn lately, so I'll do this with cars, okay? Have you guys ever got a chance to drive one of the old PT Cruisers?
Yeah, absolutely. I got to drive one of the GTs, the turbo models.
I used to own a PT Cruiser with a sunroof, and it had the Woody kit on it and everything else. And yeah, I could have bought more expensive cars. Yeah, I could get cars that performed better, that did better. I don't think I've ever driven a car that was just so much fun to take down the road. Mm-hmm. It was just fun. And I think we do that sometimes with hardware. We get so wrapped up in the minutia of percentage difference and everything else that we forget it's supposed to be used to actually do something. So,
I'm going to play... I don't know. This wouldn't necessarily be devil's advocate, but so I have my preference, and my preference is Nvidia, but I'm not anti AMD. I prefer Nvidia.
We will, my brother, pray that green monkey off your back.
I like my green monkey. So he's a friend. He talks to me at night. So I prefer my Nvidia cards, but I don't. When people ask me, Jay, this card or this card, then if the AMD option they're considering is better, I'll go with the AMD. And there's times I recommend AMD over Nvidia based on their budget, and that's fine and all. But I have to laugh because AMD, especially AMD Roy, took to such high levels of the 4 GB thing. And laughed about it and just promoted 4 GB means 4 GB and pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed and took that PR opportunity to dig at Nvidia. Nvidia is flipping it now with the FreeSync thing. So now what you're getting is kind of like turnabout is fair play sort of thing, even though it's not like a huge deal. And it's not in the same level though, technically, since FreeSync isn't being falsely advertised as the 4 gig card was.
Right.
But it's just. So now we're on a marketing level where these battles are taking place, and it's really hurting the consumer, and that's what bugs me about it.
Well, this goes back. You and I discussed this. We'll let the listeners hear what we discussed and get Jerry to pipe in. Maybe
Jerry doesn't understand. Jerry doesn't know nothing about video cards.
Well, I know a lot about video cards. Ask me anything. I know everything about them.
You go back to the first big hype, which was frame pacing.
And that was about a year and a half, 2 years ago.
Frame pacing was a mountain made out of a molehill. The only thing frame pacing affected was multiple video cards. It made no difference at all in single video cards. And even with multiple video cards, only a small percentage of people actually ever noticed it.
I remember this. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it just when it comes to the timeline, this was after the 7970 launched pre-gigahertz edition, when the 680 was trumping the 7970 in terms of performance.
Yes.
And AMD's response was, okay, so Nvidia has more FPS, but we have better frame pacing, and so it started like the spec battle.
No. Okay, no. It was actually Nvidia that started the frame pace war.
Really? Because everything I ever saw was AMD talking about frame pacing over frame rate.
No, Nvidia started the war. But what was funny is you talk to people today, and everybody remembers the micro stutter issue that was pointed out during the frame pace war.
Right.
Well, the micro stutter issue can only be seen. Well, it was Crossfire.
Right.
It wasn't SLI.
Well, SLI was doing it too.
Yeah, but not to the same extent. In fairness, not to the same extent. And the problem was, though, the only way you could really show it was to go slow motion video. So if you ran regular video, it didn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
But what was funny is when you took the same metric, when you took the same testing dynamic, and you moved it over to single video cards, AMD won. Every time AMD won. But nobody reported that because marketing departments from one company was pushing that we want this out there to attack the other. So then we come forward. Now we get the 4 gig or the gig gate, the half gig gate, whatever you want to call it. Okay, and you know what? It's a cute little joke. 4 gig is 4 gig. Ha ha, funny. At the end of the day, though, from a consumer perspective, it's an irrelevant issue. It was meaningless. Was there an issue? Absolutely. NVIDIA screwed up, but it wasn't a screw up that made the car suddenly bad.
You know what my official response was to that, and everyone like, oh my god, the 970 sucks now, was when I built my simulator rig with the 5760 by 1080 surround, I put two 970s in it. Because everyone's like, oh, an SLI in high res, that's where you're going to notice it. Pfft, bullshit.
You got to really push to get to the point that the memory starts to become an issue.
Yep.
And there's only a few games that pushed it, but at the end of the day, it was an issue that didn't deserve the attention.
But they were always games with mods that pushed it.
Right. But we're seeing the same thing today now with Freesync. We've got an issue that is such a minor issue, it's not worth the trouble. And the real story of Freesync, what makes Freesync really cool, is not being talked about. And that is, it's an open standard. Anybody can use it
because it's built onto the DisplayPort. What is
exactly.
it?
1.2a.
1.2a. That's right.
And every DisplayPort forward is going to have this standard. So this is a big deal. This is a huge deal, and nobody wants to talk about it. In fact, if you want to talk about anything NVIDIA's done wrong with this, my question is, why does any company say no? We will not support an open standard. Mm-hmm. NVIDIA could put this in their drivers in 10 minutes. It would be nothing for their team to put this in their drivers and just release the potential. How can you say it's good for gamers if you won't provide support to an open existing standard?
And I know that's something that Logan's been pushing very, very hard to get people to realize that G-Sync is DRM'd into hardware.
Exactly. I mean, why on earth? It's like, what if NVIDIA woke up one day and said, hey, you know what? We're not going to support DirectX anymore. Yeah. People would go crazy. They'd be like, why wouldn't you support DirectX? It's the same thing. This is just an open standard, and it needs to be supported. That's the only thing. That's the only controversy I see. What's he doing?
Too bright. I look like an angel or something. Everybody keeps texting me, and they're like, "Oh my god, we can't see your face. You're blinding us."
Yeah, I'm getting flashing because I got a window behind me that's a west-facing window. So I got sunlight coming in it, and as the cars go past, the light bounces off them and it flashes.
Jerry, I was laughing because when we had that awkward pause, I played that reverberating fart sound.
Oh, did you really?
So the timing was perfect. The timing was perfect.
Oh Lord. Okay.
Welcome to the show, Ed.
Thank you. That's all right.
So, but you know, this is never going to change. These are two opposing factions, and it's never going to change.
This is for me. This is a promise I made to a lot of people when I first started this job. I will never feed you BS in the hype. If I'm hyped about something, it's because I legitimately am hyped about it.
I love BS.
BS is a joke is one thing, but people want serious information. Why am I going to feed you crap for serious information?
I saw a comment go by earlier that said something, that people have tested 970s and SLI and that they were on par with the Titan X. I already did some of the preliminary tests on that. I didn't bother making them public. I just wasn't something I was too concerned on doing that comparison. But two 970s on a benchmark like Valley was actually averaging about 8 FPS higher than a single Titan at much lower cost, obviously. But and of course that's going to perform better on the games that utilize the SLI profile and don't require more than 3.5 gigs of RAM.
Right.
So it has its trade-offs. I mean, the higher res, and with how many games now are like 4 gigs or 6 gigs necessary? Like once you start cranking up GTA 5 on a single panel, it's starting to get up near 4 gigs on required RAM. So that means cards like the 960s and the 270Xs and 280s, these guys are finding with GTA 5 all of a sudden they can't crank their settings to the max, even at 1080p necessarily, because of the amount of VRAM that's necessary for that game.
There's a lot of changes coming. We're going to see what's going to happen. That's all I can say.
So that's why I'm kind of happy now that I have an overabundance of VRAM, 36 gigabytes of it.
Well, in fairness, but yeah, it's kind of like, though, when people are like, oh, look how amazing that card is. Well, dude, for $1,000, it better play my games at any resolution I want. It better wash my dishes and make me dinner for $1,000.
Yeah,
you said this once, and I agree with you. If we weren't given this stuff to look at, we wouldn't use it.
I couldn't afford it even if I wanted to use it.
Right, that's the whole point.
I can't afford Skullcrux. Are you kidding me?
Jerry would always buy it and use it.
He would. Jerry has
Nvidia.
Jerry has sold more than his soul to get things.
Oh yeah.
Really?
Anything.
Is there video?
I can't see this.
I thought what you were gonna tell people that I said was when I said I can run GTA 5 on max settings no problem, and you were like, not everyone has $4,000 worth of graphics cards.
Well, there is that too.
But everybody should have that.
That's true.
Everybody should have it.
Well, you should be a console peasant if you don't have $4,000.
What we need to do is one of us needs to win the lottery, and then we need to go out and buy video cards for the planet.
Oh, jeez. Like I don't think there's enough sand on Earth.
I mean, the only cards we could really afford would be ATI ones, though.
ATI ones would be hard to find, brother. Those have been made for a long time.
260X is for everybody.
I remember back in the day when there was always a struggle for me. I always picked the card that wasn't the highest performance. The one that had the better drivers was always the way that I picked my cards. And I remember there was a long period of time where the Nvidia drivers were super fragile for multi-screen.
There was
versus the AMD equivalent. And so I ran the AMD cards, but then those drivers started getting shitty and Nvidia drivers got better. And I was privy to all this information because when I worked at Microsoft, part of my job for a very long period of time was testing driver compatibility.
Screw that, man. There are so many permutations I wouldn't even want to imagine.
Defending me in chat. This is so funny.
I mean, we talk about permutations and how you can't plan for everything. Look at what I'm dealing with on this Acer panel. It's so cutting edge, and even though it's a G-Sync panel, it's not playing nice with some cards, non-NVIDIA cards. So I'm looking at this now. Well, this Acer 4K panel is a great panel, but it might not be the best test bench for 4K, considering it has that G-Sync panel or that G-Sync module in there. Because I mean, and by the way, Ed, I did try it on another 290X again, and I do get the same flickering issue.
Okay, now, just so everybody knows what we're talking about, Jay. So we sent Jay an 8 gig card to look at.
And people have been like, where the hell is that review? But I've been fighting this issue. And
so Jay gets a hold of me, and he's having an issue where the card's not throwing video up right. Something's wrong.
The display is power cycling.
So we worked through it a little bit, and we thought that it was a bad card. So we RMA'd it and got him another card out. Well, he gets the other card, he started having the same issue.
And your team couldn't recreate it.
And no, it works perfectly for our team. Everything's working fine. Yeah. So he finally realized it was the monitor.
Right.
And okay, we're going to have to do lots of. There's all sorts of questions in here about who am I. Oh, Doug's got a crush on me. Isn't that sweet?
This is Ed, guys. Come on.
But
If
that-
you don't
but-
know who Ed is, then you're obviously.
Doug has a
into
crush
video
on you
games.
because he thinks that you're Santa, and you're gonna bring him graphics cards this December.
I don't know if he's at Atlanta Pit event that I'm at. He might.
I'll be up there in November.
Hey Jay, can we get confirmation that you're a general in the Nvidia army?
That was so funny.
I had to bring that up.
So I was watching these two like completely fanboy, Twitter accounts go at it. One guy was all like AMD badged up, and the other guy was all Nvidia badged up, and they were going back and forth, just slinging the same dirt that everyone else has been slinging. And then finally I stepped, because they tried to pull me into it, and I was like, sorry guys, I don't do fanboy. And then the NVIDIA guy was like, Jay, I thought you were our NVIDIA general. I thought you would back up your soldier. And I'm like, that's the stupidest thing I think I've ever heard. It's like, what is this crap? I'm sorry, I don't do fanboy. I do preference, but not fanboy.
Dinner just got delivered, guys.
What?
What?
Hey, haven't you ever heard if you don't have enough for everybody, don't bring any at all?
Steak and macaroni and cheese.
Oh, that's an interesting combo I've never tried before.
That's American cuisine.
America.
American cuisine.
Got a little blood with some cheese, and wet noodles. Yeah.
That's what
Yeah,
that's
there
what
you
it's
go.
called. That's what it's called when Jerry makes a baby.
Okay. Couple quick questions.
Blood and wet noodles.
Couple of quick questions. I turned
Go for it.
52 this year. Somebody was
52 years
asking
young.
about that.
You don't look a day over 57.
But how old is
Thank
your
you.
beard?
How old is the beard? I actually grew the beard for the first time 20 years ago plus.
Hmm.
And I got a face for radio, guys. I had to hide it.
Yeah, Mama says I got a face for radio.
Apparently, I got a face for radio too.
Well, Jay, no, I was on radio. We don't want your face there either, or Jerry. We don't want your face there either.
Yeesh.
That's not what Como told me.
Not unless you take a shower.
I take like 3 showers a day, man. I'm a
I
shower
had to
whore.
sit next to Jerry for PDX land. It wasn't a pretty sight.
You know, I'm thinking about road tripping it up there instead of flying.
That's a long ass drive, bro.
How
It's a-
long? 8 hours? 10 hours?
15, but it's a 1,000-mile drive.
Okay, well, I do
But-
12, I do 12, 13-hour drives all the time for events.
Yeah, so I was thinking about taking a friend with me up there, and
See
we
how
just
this tastes.
we would just 2-man it, get up there in a day.
The monkey?
Probably not Monkey. Monkey will have school. He won't be on, because it's earlier in November. He won't be on his Thanksgiving break.
Interesting.
I'm thinking about bringing up Jackson,
Who's that?
Frank,
Oh,
Big
no,
Frank.
that'd be cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So
He'd have
because he's a gamer like I am. So
So you
Should
guys
make him a
get to watch
cameraman.
me eat dinner.
oh yeah,
This
this is
so nice. I get to have dinner with all of
there's no stereotype in there. I promise.
you. I'd like to thank you all for joining me for dinner.
I'm drinking water because I'm now healthy like Jay. See?
But don't you have to make us an offer we can't refuse now, Ed?
An offer you can't refuse. What am I going to offer you that you can't refuse?
I don't know, but usually when you're
Can you
invited to
get
dinner,
NVIDIA graphics cards? I'm just kidding.
of course, look, you know as well as I do, Sapphire's got just as many NVIDIA cards hanging around as AMD's because they do all the
story,
engineering.
True story. You're going to love this. So I'm out at PDX Land. It's my first event ever for Sapphire. Oh, yes, by the way, Philip, yes, those are 4 fractal 140 millimeter fans in my window. Because I'm too po to be able to afford an air conditioner in the room. So
But you could afford it if you were an NVIDIA rep.
If
I
you're an
was
NVIDIA rep,
I could
you'd have
afford
like
it.
an air conditioner in that.
I just haven't put the AC in yet. It's cool outside. I was goofing, cleaning the room, and I said, "Oh, what the hell?" and threw them up there. It works.
Are all
Who
those
cares?
fans off returned ATI card or AMD cards?
Nope, those are fractal 140 millimeter fans.
Oh, I bet
So-
you that works pretty good though. What do you got them connected to for a power supply?
I've got an old external hard drive power adapter thing that went into the wall and then comes out into a Molex connector,
Oh, that's a good idea.
and then I just connected into that.
You see everyone in the chat responding to what I just typed. Everyone's all the lag returns. I'm like, apparently YouTube is using AMD CPUs.
Okay, now I completely forgot the story. The PDX story. So anyway, my first ever event with PDX. And I've done the radio show for 20 years. I'm used to talking in crowds, but they set me next to NVIDIA.
Oh, jeez.
And so I'm kind of a little in awe because NVIDIA, if you've ever seen them at a show, they're like an army, man, of automatons. They like march in lockstep and bring in all these built gaming systems by like Falcon Northwest.
But that's how Jensen runs things.
So anyway, though, so they're sitting next to me.
It's like a military.
And we're talking. I mean, we had a pleasant conversation back and forth, and everything was fine. Excuse me. And we're talking, and one of them makes a comment. They said, "You do know that all the cards we buy to test against are Sapphire, right?" And I thought he was joking. And they're telling me that they always test for AMD products. They only buy Sapphire cards for testing. So I'm like, yay! We get to say, not only are we a great video card, but 100% of NVIDIA companies recommend Sapphire video cards for your AMD.
And then at the next event, they're sitting next to Diamond. You know, we test against Diamond every single time we come out with a new graphics card.
No, I actually got from a couple of sources that I knew within EVGA and stuff that this is true. That this is all they buy are Sapphire cards.
But that's why Sapphire is also main OEM for a lot of the FirePro stuff.
Well, now, sort of. We're the distribution for the FirePro stuff.
Oh, so you guys just like whore out your warehouse?
Basically, we do help with the construction of it and stuff. But the FirePro stuff, because of the nature of the way it's built, AMD takes a much tighter control on how those are built because they have to have a lot of really tight standards.
Aren't you guys in Illinois?
No. I am.
Okay. You are. Okay, gotcha. So you work remote. I was gonna say that's weird if you guys aren't in Texas.
Hey guys, if you want to ask questions, hashtag AskTechTalk on Twitter.
Yeah,
so
this is
right. Some questions.
We got about 40 minutes left in the stream, and usually for about the last half hour, 45, we do just purely. You guys can ask us anything, like Jay, play that fart sound, and I'll be like, okay, I can do that. See, and then we play the fart sound.
Or show that picture of Jerry naked on his lawn again.
Yeah.
Oh God, no, don't.
I'm glad. No, Jerry only said that because he wants me to put it up. So.
Yeah, I do, and I want to Photoshop Ed's face onto it.
No,
okay,
no,
here.
No.
Let's do it.
We'll get it. We'll get it. Bang.
No,
Hold on.
No.
I need to send you the new picture, the Spandex's life picture. You need to start putting that up too.
Oh,
all right, it's up now.
Nice.
It's up.
You're gonna make me stop eating because I'm gonna get ill, right?
All of a sudden, there's gonna be mac and cheese flying at your camera.
Ed, I saw the way you were looking at me down at PDX land, man.
That's a cute butt and those PJs. Porius, right. I'm at the south end of Illinois in a little town called Carbondale. I tell everybody I'm in Illinois and they think I'm in Chicago.
That's the only thing worth going to in Illinois. And Bloomington.
That's the least thing worth going to in Illinois.
Chicago's awesome as long as you're not getting stabbed on the street.
You can go down to Hoosierville and go to Bloomington.
I've been to Bloomington.
Oh, that's Indiana. Never mind, that's the other way. See, Illinois is definitely not worth going to.
Bloomington is in Illinois.
Oh,
there's also a Bloomington, Indiana. That's where the Hoosiers are.
Okay. Yeah, but in Illinois we have a city called Champaign. So we get good stuff. That's the University of Illinois in Champaign.
This is the music I imagine playing with when Jerry was taking that picture. You guys can hear it on the stream after it plays back. I'm dancing, but you guys can't hear me. Or you can't see me.
I'm glad my stream's up.
It sounds like you just walked into a like some teenage girl's clothing store.
If teenage girls saw that, none of them would ever get married to guys again.
They would all be jealous of his moobs.
Yeah, they.
Dude, I got some nice pepperonis. That's all I'm saying.
No, you don't.
I've never seen oval pepperoni though.
You guys are jelly in my pepperoni.
I've never seen oval pepperonis. I do.
Well, they get oval like it's the stretching. The stretching turns circular. In gravity, I mean, there's a couple factors in there, but the oval makes them more desirable.
Did you hear the music, Jerry?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, please, for the love of God, can we take that picture down?
It sounds like runway models. They're like walking down their stuff.
We have ruined the lives of so many people with that.
That's what we do every week. That's why we do this, Ed.
That's sad.
That's why we do this.
Tech talk. You gotta put all your tech out there. Even
the more lives we ruin, the more followers we get.
Hashtag oval pepperonis for the win.
Hey, I don't know if Paul's still in channel or not. I Am At Pros was in earlier.
Was he?
Yeah,
Was he out there just chucking his A-bombs and throwing weapons of mass destruction?
He was in the chat channel. I don't know if he's still up or not. I hope so. I enjoyed talking to him.
Paul, I don't like Paul. He's a violent individual. He's always like kapowing people, and
it's true. He's always throwing like A-bombs at people. It's like you could just throw a regular bomb because like atomic bombs are not environmentally friendly.
I want Paul to go flying one day and meet a fan and watch him yell A-bomb when he's like in the airport not realizing it.
Okay, here's a interesting question. How do you claim never settle? Okay, first, the never settle bundles were AMD, not Sapphire.
Wait, this is. I was gonna say this is not support. This is not tech support. He's not gonna give you your recovery redemption key.
Wow. Okay,
Sheesh.
I guess I'm not.
Ed's not giving out any games on this show.
Maybe next time I'll have to bring some.
I know. I was hoping he was gonna be like, "Screw you, Jay, guys. Here's a code," but that didn't work. Sorry, guys.
I don't have any right now. If I'd have thought about it, I'd have got them. But this was kind of short notice.
I only have GTA 5 because Nvidia gave it to me. Why didn't you give me any games?
There is that. What game would you like? Maybe
I want GTA 5. Can I have GTA 5? Come on.
Actually, what I really need to get for the test bench is Crysis 3, but that's not an AMD title.
I want GTA.
Isn't Crysis Nvidia optimized?
I don't know. I haven't seen Crysis. I'm not a first-person. I play some first-person shooters, but I'm not a big first-person shooter fan. Okay, Connor. Yes, I do have an Intel CPU in my primary gaming rig.
OMG.
Why?
Dun dun dun.
Why? What's wrong with that?
Why?
This is treason.
It's like working at a Ferrari dealership and pulling up in your Lamborghini. Come on.
You've defected.
No, it's not.
He's defected.
I have a Sapphire video card.
You know what? I'm so disgusted
not
by this. I'm gonna go pee right now. That's how disgusted I am.
In one of our demo systems, I actually have a Sapphire motherboard.
I'm doing it. I'm going pee.
Good job, Ed. You just got Jerry to leave the show. Thanks.
I'm gonna do it.
Thanks.
Win. I win the internet. I win.
Is that really a prize that you want?
So I'm saying that Jerry left the show? I don't know.
Jerry dropped the mic and is gone. He has left the building.
I don't understand why people are so freaked out that I'd have an Intel processor.
Because
why wouldn't I have an Intel processor?
But that's because the propaganda machine that is AMD has brainwashed them to you must be all AMD. I'm not even kidding. I'm not even kidding.
I've got an AMD work machine sitting next to me that's on an APU. I've got a machine upstate with my in-laws that I use as a gaming rig when I go up to visit them. That's an APU. My son's machine is an APU. I've got APUs and Intel machines around here.
What I love about the fact that I'm dogging on AMD is that people who actually are using both sides of their brain know that I'm trolling because I just built my dad an AMD system.
Well, that just proves what you really think of it.
Oh man, it'd be different if I built it for someone I didn't like. Then I'd be like, "Well, look what he did. He built an AMD machine for someone he doesn't like."
No, you were just like, "What do you build for like an old guy who's just getting back into something? He doesn't need anything fast. He's probably just gonna check his email. AMD. That's what you need. AMD."
No, he's rendering videos.
He sure is. I know. I saw a couple of them. If you guys, actually, everybody should go over and look at his videos.
Pops 2 cents. How did you come up with that? I don't even know.
Pops 2 cents with a Z. Everybody, go check out his videos. Give him the thumbs up.
I know. How the heck did he come up with that? I still have to go in and help him set up his custom URL because right now his channel name's like 864W1QRZ. Dude, I'm not even kidding. You know how you have a unique URL for YouTube?
Yeah.
And you have to make it so that it shows up like user/JayzTwoCents?
Mm-hmm.
My father's custom or specific URL says Pornwiz. PORNWIZ in it. I'm not even kidding.
Are you kidding? What?
No, I'm not even kidding.
Happen?
And he's 72 years old, and his channel contains the word Pornwiz.
No wonder he's got like 2,000 followers already. Had nothing to do with us.
Yeah, so what to say?
That is awesome. That is awesome. Him and James Doohan are my idols.
I'm doing a search for Pornwiz right now. Okay, that's not what I was expecting. Dodge.
See, here it is right here.
I love that.
Here it is right here. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna show it right now. So let's see, add screen region. Oh wait, that's not what we want. No, we don't want that.
Dude, your dad's killing it, man. 2,520 views.
Well,
Yeah.
I did help him with a tweet, but
Dude, getting them views.
there. I put it up on the screen. You guys will see it. Look at the URL. It says PornWiz. I'm not even kidding. Sorry, Ed, I covered you up for the moment, but
That's for porn. Hey, what can I say?
For the porn.
72-year-old porn, apparently. My dad's 72 years young, and he just decided in his retirement he's going to do a YouTube channel. He's got 2,500 subs already.
He's killing it, man. It took me like a year to get that many.
So I don't know if it's caught up yet, but you can see it right there at the end. PornWiz.
That
And
is
it's not-
just so wild.
And it's not and it's not like it's a 0, it's an O. PornWiz.
Porn whiz, yeah.
It's funny though how with the moment I went to his channel that immediately stuck out to me. What does that say about me as a person?
Oh wow, it's got DP in there too.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Right now I'm hoping my internet fails. Oh my god.
DP porn whiz for Pops 2 cents. Nice.
Oh my
I
god.
like that. Hashtag porn whiz. Nice.
Porn Wizard is 72 years old. That's what you call experienced.
Yeah, I'm glad we got in before they started forcing those weird URLs on people.
Wow.
Yeah, you can still go in and set a custom one. It's just you have to do it though.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
Because he was freaking out. He's like, how come I can't go to like youtube.com/pops2cents and it's not working? And I was like, I don't know. Mine just does it. But come to find out they had changed that like a year ago.
Charger's begging us to comment on the new Zen architecture coming up.
I don't know anything. I don't know any specifics about it, I should say.
I
know their focus and I know their roadmap, but AMD keeps it pretty quiet until they're close to launch, and then they kind of do like little sporadic leaks here and there. But other than that, I don't know anything about the architecture.
I have been excited about the whole APU direction for a long time. Most of you aren't old enough to remember this. Jerry might barely. Remember back when we didn't have floating point units on the microprocessors?
Oh yeah, back in the 386s before the DX.
286s, 386s. We didn't have floating point. And nobody programmed for floating point. There was no reason to, because you had to buy it extra. And then with the 486 is when Intel began to introduce floating point on all the chips. So what happened to my dinner coal is it's waiting because I'm talking. So anyway, I'm excited because look what happened with floating point. Fast forward to today. Floating point being made available to the layperson means every program you use today uses the floating point coprocessor. We don't think of it anymore. It's part of the CPU. And if you were to remove the FPU from the existing CPU design today, you would cripple software. It became so standardized. It became so useful.
Well, it wasn't that they couldn't do floating point. It was just the way they did floating point was horribly inefficient and emulated. So
right, it was
slow.
emulated. It wasn't done right. So fast forward to the APU. Mm-hmm. With the APU, what gets me excited is not the graphics capability on the chip, but it's the ability to have a parallel coprocessor. To use parallel programming directly into a chip that's going to be in most systems. The potential improvement to what we can do in programs is astronomical.
Well, and I did have a discussion with AMD last year about this and how as long as the developers code the API to put that GPU to work in other processing applications, the GPU is not just a GPU, it is another processor.
And it becomes a huge deal when that comes into play.
Right. It's just we need to have the APIs developed for it and the programs programmed for it. But that's the direction.
Well, there's two directions they can go with it. One is all the native code has to be compiled to actually utilize that and have a counterpart that doesn't utilize it to work on everything else. Or they just build code on top of runtimes like the CLR and Java and things like that. Whereas the runtime itself can take advantage of those features without you directly programming for them.
Yeah. But the cool thing is apparently too, depending on some of the games that you're playing, apparently, now this was a discussion I had last year, but if things haven't changed, if you put a GPU in with it, then the APU doesn't have to just sit there idle not doing things. The actual APU side of the chip can be start doing specific things within the game. So the developers could say, okay, if you have a GPU present, use the APU to render the shadows or whatever, and do something specific to free up more horsepower.
Is if they detected the presence of an actual standalone GPU, instead of just making the APU available for other functions that you could program for, it'd be cool if they actually had a way to repurpose the instructions so that all the floating point instructions at the lowest level went to the GPU. That way the software wouldn't have to change at all. So anytime an assembly instruction came in that said, I want to process a floating point number, it would automatically leverage the APU at the hardware level. If they could do
it's-
something
Yeah.
like that, that would be amazing.
That's why DirectX 12 is so interesting. The fact that it's opening up what the APU and GPU can do, that's the exciting thing in AMD's side about DX12. All of these features that the problem with the APU was this, okay? My AMD friends are going to get mad at me. The APU was ahead of its time. It was a really neat concept, but nothing was there to support it yet. Nothing was there to take what made it a strong product and show it as a strong product. The good news is DX12 is the first real step in that direction. The APU is now about to have a chance to show what it is. Intel's going to play catch up if they don't get onto this soon. Because once this takes off, I mean, seriously, properly programmed, an APU can slap around an i7 if it's properly programmed. But nothing's written for it yet.
Yeah, but now you're talking about kind of one-trick ponies, though. I mean, i5 and i7 are so broadly powerful at so many different things.
True.
The APU would only, like, the 8350 does beat i7s, current i7s in some computes.
True.
But only some. And it doesn't tell the whole picture, though.
It's the problem is AMD went with this design that was very forward thinking. It actually is. It's an innovative design when you understand what they tried to do. It's a very innovative design, but it innovated itself out of usefulness. Having something that's super useful 4 years from now, but not that useful today, means today you lose. People don't look 4 or 5 years down the road with technology. So AMD out innovated themselves. They got too far ahead of themselves, and it ended up hurting them. The good news is it's beginning to catch up. The innovation is finally getting to the point that we're going to get to see it in place, I think, and then it'll get really exciting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we need them to stick around and compete, but I mean, again, we're all still wondering if all these rumors about AMD apparently being purchased is also, you know, a lot of people are wondering whether or not there's truth to that rumor.
Yeah, we'll see. I've heard that rumor before.
Well, you know, the reality is, and this is public information, is that AMD has had so many consecutive quarters with loss.
Right.
It makes me wonder how far they can go before they're forced to make that decision.
Well,
I mean, is it too little, too late? You know.
My gut reaction. This is Ed. Forget Sapphire for a minute.
Yeah.
This is just Ed's gut reaction. My gut reaction is Intel can't afford to let Samsung buy AMD. If Samsung gets AMD, Samsung from a pure muscle point of view is able to compete with Intel right now. Just pure muscle. But you add the
especially since Samsung teamed up with ARM 2 years ago.
Right. You bring the innovations AMD brings to the table with the GPU side and the CPU and the APU and the direction that they've got all of this heading. You put that technology and you put it with a pocketbook the size of Samsung to fund the R&D and the production capabilities that Samsung has, where it can already do 14 nanometer, it can keep up with Intel in production.
Yeah.
You put that together, Intel would crap itself because that would be scary for them. They would have to do something they haven't had to do in years, step up their game.
I'm looking up. I'm just curious, real quick, what the actual numbers are. That's the thing. You look up reportings and losses, but they've got. I mean, we're talking millions and tens of millions of dollars per quarter in losses right now. So, but when you're and it's been so many consecutive quarters of losses, it goes to show, one, AMD had quite the bankroll, unless now we're in credit range for them, which I doubt, seriously. You know, when especially with the way there's been so much shaken up at the top end of AMD and trickling its way down, eventually an offer like that starts to look really enticing.
It does. From my perspective, though, again, personally, I think it's a scary offer. Samsung as a company is not as progressively thinking as AMD has been over the years. I'm not sure we would get the really good focus in the PC gaming community we get now.
I think my question internally, and this is more rhetorical, is what are they more interested in, the CPU market or their GPU market?
That's true. What I would, if I could have my dream, if me as a PC gaming enthusiast could have my dream, I would like to see Samsung come in with a wad of cash and the facilities and say, we're going to buy we're not going to take over AMD, we're going to bankroll AMD.
Yeah.
We're going to see that happening.
We're going to fund them. We're
So
going to
yeah,
drive their
it would be
R&D.
AMD, a Samsung family company.
It'd be just
Yes.
like Facebook buying Oculus. They pretty much just left the company largely alone and bankrolled them.
Yeah.
That would be, to me, the best win for everybody in the PC gaming world, is if that happened to AMD.
Yeah.
I think that would be a huge win. Or if AMD does what it needs to do and turns it around.
Yeah, I don't think anyone realized that it was as bad as it was until we started seeing the public departures of so many executives, over the last 6 months. I mean, it's been kind of crazy. I see a lot of people saying like, well, if AMD goes under, then Intel prices are going to go through the roof. I've already said this before. No, they won't. They won't go through the roof, but Intel will They'll dramatically slow down the rate at which they're progressing in technology. They'll have no reason to invest in that level of R&D.
Right.
And in fairness, if AMD goes under, it's not just Intel that'll do this. It's also
Bring
NVIDIA.
Cyrix back. Hashtag bring Cyrix back.
No, God, no, not Cyrix.
I heard a rumor.
Maybe Cirrus Logic.
I heard a rumor back in 2011. This is just a rumor. I have no story to back this up, but I heard a rumor that Intel had approached Nvidia at one point to try and buy them.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Because Nvidia was looking to strengthen its APU.
I've heard that before.
Yeah,
People are asking me on Twitter if I'm okay because I'm just kind of like sitting here being quiet. I'm fine, guys. I promise.
When Jerry's just sitting there like that,
I'm not making enough jokes.
No, they're just like Jerry's usually interrupting and being loud and being obnoxious, and it's like I'm just not right now because I'm actually fascinated by the conversation.
plus he's taking this time to type to people, probably on Twitter. I'm assuming.
I'm typing to people on Twitter, and I'm checking what is it? Porn's 2 cents.
There's probably a channel up there, Pornwiz now. Pornwiz.
Pornwiz, DP Pornwiz.
But no, the way the story goes, at least that I've heard it, this is like probably the game Telephone. Everyone has a different version of the story. It was that Nvidia approached Intel to buy out Intel, the other way around. Okay, Nvidia was approached.
Circular acquisition right there.
Nvidia was approached by Intel to be purchased. And basically Jensen was like, no, take a leap. And then Intel was basically took it upon them to eventually promise to overtake Nvidia. So I don't think they're going to necessarily be able to do that because their focus in their drive is so different. But clearly, like you mentioned earlier, the Intel's APU side is really a joke. I mean,
that'd be an interesting play by Nvidia. I mean, if you're thinking crazy out loud, let's just say hypothetically that AMD at some point goes under, for Nvidia to actually enter the CPU market, because they make some incredible GPUs and stuff like that. It seems to me like it wouldn't be too far-fetched for them to actually design a CPU.
I don't see why they wouldn't, because they already have an APU. Nvidia has their own APU. It's the Tegra. Now, granted, it's for mobile. That was their introduction into it.
Beef it up quite a bit.
Well, yeah,
but they could easily transition that into the desktop space. They could make an x64 variant.
And not to mention with the way NVIDIA is already broadening its portfolio of doing things like smart car technology and such, So I don't know. You never know. NVIDIA, I know, has very, very grandeur ideas. Like they really want to kind of take over the world as far as I'm concerned with technology. So you never know.
Yeah, because if they created a CPU, then they could make that CPU more in line to add additional instructions to support their graphics card line.
Yeah,
they could do all kinds of shady shit.
I have no doubt somewhere on a white wall there's somewhere written NVIDIA CPU kapow.
There's a guy getting fired right now at NVIDIA. You told him. Who told him? They're like listening to the show.
Jensen's punching holes in the walls.
Like it's coming out next month and we've just ruined it. Oh.
No, it's amazing though. The public always seems to know this stuff before it ever launches, because the public as a collective in the technology sphere is very good at seeing the winds change before they actually do. Like consumers are really good at seeing what's coming before it comes, and I think that's a really feasible future prospect there of an NVIDIA CPU.
Jay, did you say we need to get into questions? You said earlier we were running
Oh,
out
yeah.
of time.
Yeah, we got 20 minutes. Go ahead and cue them up, Jerry.
All right, I got some questions up. Whenever you
Jerry's
guys
our
are ready.
Twitter whore.
Fire away, Jerry.
All right, so the Monster Atlas asked, do I use 400 grit sandpaper or 200 grit sandpaper on a metal case for painting? Does anybody know this? Like, I don't
Well,
know.
you always start with the higher grit, or is it the other way around? I can't remember.
Technically, the lower grit.
You start with the lower grit and then move to the higher
Someone's
grit
drunk.
as you keep stepping up to smooth it.
And honestly, I'd go a lot higher than 400 if you're painting.
No, 400 would be a good place to start if he's trying to remove material. If you're just trying to scratch up the surface, then yeah, maybe like 800.
Okay, so that makes sense. So depending on if you're removing stuff, use the lower. Start with the lower grit, work to the higher grit.
And the
but if
reason
you're
why
finishing the surface to paint it, though, you're probably going to want to use a higher grit afterwards to smooth out the surface a bit.
You always need to step it though. You can't go from like 400 to 1,000. You've got to go from like 400, 480, 600, 800, 1,000, because you're removing scratches.
Yeah,
as
and
you
also borrow a random orbital sander. It'll save you like 9,000 years.
Oh God.
Oh my gosh! I used a random orbital sander once on a piece of metal that I was like, it was on a car. It was back when I had my truck, and I was sanding literally the fender for like a week. Every night I'd go out there for an hour, and I get this random sander, and I'm just like, and I seriously took care of the whole fender in like an hour. I was like, this is awesome. So yes, borrow one.
Valor. I'm eating because it's dinner time here, and I'm a diabetic, so I've got to kind of stick close to the eating schedule. So. He said I was an American asshole.
That's what. I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna use that excuse too now. I'm diabetic because I gotta eat all the time.
I eat steak and macaroni and cheese for breakfast. So you guys just sit.
Dude, I haven't eaten like a tenth of what I've got on my plate. Leave me alone.
Yeah, but you have a plate that's 10 times bigger than normal plates, though, right?
Yes. All right, guys, ready for another one?
Go.
Fire away.
All right, so Zach Cyrus what is that? Lalonde? Okay, this is an interesting name. It says, this is the quietest Barnacles ever on TikTok. Quick, something about 3D printing or drones.
No!
3D print a drone. See, I kept it
We
nice
did
and short.
3D printing. Was it not on the air when I asked you about the Chia Pet head?
Nope.
It kind of was. Well, you asked me if I could 3D print it, but I didn't really go into my deep 15-minute, wandering.
We weren't on the air, though. We were setting up.
I like stick extrude material, guys. Actually, let's see. Is it this? No, I'm not going to be able to. So next week, I've got the boxes. I have a Robo 3D R1 sitting in a box, and I have the full spectrum laser Pegasus 3D SLA printer, which is going to be cool. That's a whole new 3D printing that you guys probably have never seen before. So that'll be awesome.
Sorry.
Let's see here.
I just was curious, and I looked up the net loss of AMD's net loss so far this year is $73 million.
$73 million. That's like nothing. Microsoft's lost like $3 billion in a quarter before.
Yeah, but they gained it all back by those salaries they saved.
I know, they got it all back by just getting rid of all of us. Let's see. Mike, a.k.a. Dr. Kill 1122. God, love that name. Jerry, what those headphones you using on TikTok? These are the HD800s. I said that earlier, but I figured I'd answer it. Oh my gosh. Why is everybody asking me questions? They must feel like I didn't talk enough or something. Jerry, any update on the radio show you're auditioning for? Yes, I'm going to do a demo in probably a week or two in the studio to see if like they even like me.
That's that radio thing?
Yeah, we'll find out.
Don't talk about poop naps. It'll help.
Oh, hey, we got a thank you from Ross Perrin for changing the live stream time so that they can watch live in the UK.
That's awesome because so far all I've taken was nothing but a bunch of bitching and complaints that it was too early now.
Let's see here. Jay, or Pantra says, Jay, what do you think about running GTX 970 and SLI? Do you think it'll hold up for a couple of years? Hashtag Jay's a dickle.
I already answered that earlier. I said I put 970s in my gaming rig just to prove it was fine.
Oh, it's fine then. There you go. Let's see here. I'm guessing this one's for Jay since it's not addressed, but what's your favorite food since you started your healthy biking and exercising stuffs?
Oh, yeah, that doesn't sound like he's asking you.
I don't know. I just did you see my Instagram earlier? I was like, I just walked 4 miles, so I'm gonna treat myself to a deep dish.
Hey, that deep dish is a little bit less painful than it would have been.
A little less painful. So what's your favorite
food? You know, I don't.
Say kale. Say kale like in that video.
No, I don't even do kale. I don't even do those juices anymore. They're too high in calories. No, I don't really have a favorite, to be honest.
doesn't
Food
have-
is now fuel. Food is no longer
Dude, I can't
a
live
joy.
with food as fuel. There's got to be the joy of food still.
Yeah, food for me, it's like, second food rate very,
My
very
favorite food is still Italian, and we all know Italian is terrible when it comes to caloric intake. But my cheat meals every week usually include Italian.
There you go.
But I love squash and zucchini and salads that are based on that. Like,
Now, do you prefer like a lasagna, or do you prefer just a regular pasta with sauce? Or?
I prefer pasta and sauce. I don't like like the layers of lasagna.
So Jay's favorite food is a limp noodle. Got it.
Yes.
He
It must-
likes
but
I heard
it
Jay
has to
likes
be-
have limp noodles in his mouth.
But it has to be a long limp noodle so I can slurp it.
He likes it a little wet too.
Oh, okay, next.
Ryan Parker asks, why do people buy Intel Pentium Core i3s and i5 CPUs when the 860, 8320, and 8350 are just as good for the money? I'm just going to go with AMDs for poor people, but we'll let Jay take this one.
I think it really depends on the definition of just as good.
Yeah.
The 8350 was just as good 2 years ago, maybe. Now it's just not. But if you're not doing anything that you need that extra headroom for double the cost, then yeah, go. I put an 8350 in my dad's machine, and he's absolutely loving it. And we moved off of an Intel system. We moved from an i3.
All right, here we got a question from Ryan Yawn. Said, what did you, meaning Jerry J and Ed, want to do as a future career when you were younger? It says, was it as they are now or different? Well, I'll start off and say that I sure as hell didn't ever want to work for Microsoft. I actually grew up a Microsoft hater. I was a Linux fanboy, and I ran Linux on everything. I only had Windows on my system that I played games on. And then all that changed when I started working at a little computer shop. But no, when I was a kid, I just wanted to grow up and be a big programmer. So I kind of did that. I mean, I was a software developer at Microsoft, but I really just wanted to be like a freelance developer for Linux. And then I realized there's no money in that, so I moved on. Jay?
I hear you.
What was the question? I was texting the wife.
Oh, did you did you always want to do what you're doing now when you were younger, or did you have like different career aspirations when you were
I'm
younger?
assuming they were talking about the career I left and not the career I have now.
No,
I think they're talking about when you were a kid
now.
before you had any career. What did you want to do when you were older?
I wanted to be a Navy pilot.
Okay, so he
That's
completely screwed the pooch on that one.
Well, yeah,
So-
but the thing was, when I was 12 years old and 6 foot, it became I wasn't going to be flying.
when
at
he got in the
14s.
plane and they couldn't close the canopy all the way, he was like, all right, I got to make some changes.
And then after that, I actually wanted to be a cop. I wanted to be in law enforcement.
Whoa, look at you.
And in 2001, I was actually accepted up to the California Highway Patrol Academy. I had been a CHP explorer for 4 years. I was an Eagle Scout. So I was all set, had cleared my background, cleared my site, cleared my board, cleared my physical, and was all set to go up to the academy. And then California had a hiring freeze, and then I went into computers.
Wow. So just think, Jay just barely missed becoming a cop.
Wow.
I barely missed becoming one of the most hated professions today.
Yep. And now you're still one of the most hated professions today.
YouTuber.
There you go.
Get a real job, Jerry.
I know, this isn't a real job, Jay, even though I've worked harder than I have my entire life and I don't ever have a day off.
You know, I looked up the lifetime earnings on the channel the other day, and I looked at it and I went, that's just depressing.
I know it is. I looked at it right too, and I was like, yeah, I'm never going to be able to survive on this alone. So Ed, what did you want to be when you were just a wee little ham?
When I was in high school, my dream was I wanted
Was
to
that
be
a
an
fat joke?
aerospace engineer and work for NASA. I wanted to be part of the design team for the Mars mission.
Whoa.
And I'd actually been accepted to Caltech. I was going to go study aerospace engineering. Then life takes twists. I went in the Navy. No, I never
Poor Ed.
envisioned doing what I'm doing today.
Poor Ed. Oh,
If
such a bright future.
does it make you jealous? But I only live 40 minutes away from JPL.
Not anymore. It would have.
Mm.
It doesn't make me jealous anymore because I look back at my life now and I look at what I do. Okay, and there's the marketing stuff and everything else, but I also get paid to travel the country and play video games. Seriously,
Get a real
how
job,
can
Ed.
I complain about my
I know,
job?
get a real job, Ed.
God, you
Jeez.
freeloader.
Freeloader, just taking everybody's money to play video games. That's not a job.
Ed's mom's gonna come in. Stop playing those
Okay.
video games.
Okay, no. We're going to stop this then for the story because you'll love the story. So I'd been home from the Navy for about a year and a half. Now I was having a hard time finding work. and I was playing video games. When I wasn't looking for work, I'd be at home working on a computer, figuring out how they worked, playing video games. And my mother comes in and she makes a comment. You're never going to amount to anything if all you do is play those video games. So a couple of years ago, it was about 6 months after I got this job, I looked at it and I said, do you remember the conversation we had back when and what you said? Yeah. And I said, so let's look at this, Mom. Video games has let me have a successful radio show for 20 years, ran my own business for 15 years, and now I'm running marketing in North America for a $1 billion a year company. Yeah, I think video games did okay for me.
Yeah, well, it's like the mom in the 50s or 60s that used to yell, why are you always playing that baseball or whatever, and then they turn out to be, MLB All-Stars and stuff.
No, I got like the best story ever. My dad literally for like many years, because I had a pretty abusive childhood, but my dad used to come by and actually open up the door and I'd still be awake on the computer like at 5 a.m. when he was like waking up to go to work to do his little drywall job, and he'd always open it and he goes, you little fat shit, you're never going to amount to anything playing on that computer, and he just slammed the door. And he did that like every single day. He'd call me just a fat little shit and slam the door. And so, see, I get desensitized to trolls because my dad was.
That's what I was gonna say. Right. So all the people tonight and every other night calling you fat, it's like, daddy,
why? No, but it was funny. He used to just come by and he'd same thing every day. Anytime I'd be out like mowing the lawn or something, he'd be like, why is that fat shit in there playing video games? And he just berated me. And
I can't even tell you how many mornings I wake up to get McKaylin, or now you guys know her name, Little J, up for school. And she's on her computer, and not just doing kid stuff, but like up there actually watching how-to videos when it comes to different toys and Legos and things like that.
She's like DDoSing people and hacking into bank accounts.
She's like, can't go to school right now, Dad. I'm on the dark net.
She's like, Daddy, I got $1 million in my PayPal account.
hold on. I'm looking for the trash file.
Oh my god.
little hackers, little joke there.
But anyways, back to the funny story about my dad telling me just beating me down every single day was that I got a job at a little computer store. And then my dad, he kind of lightened up a little bit after that, and he stopped calling me a fat shit, and he just kept asking how much I made, and I was like, yeah, I only make like, $7 an hour or whatever. And he'd be like, loser. And then like later on I got the job at Microsoft, and then years later I came back, I was like, hey Dad, how much did you make? And I made like 4 times as much as he ever did in his entire life. And he was like, oh. he's like, I'm really, really sorry about, all that abuse. I just, I wanted you to get into the same line of work that I was doing. And
I just thought you'd be a better drywaller than you were a programmer.
Exactly. He wanted me to go into drywall, which is like, where we lived, I mean, it was maybe a $30,000-$40,000 a year job.
Yeah.
And you know what, though, before you go farther, I know we do a lot of jokes and stuff. There's nothing wrong with being a drywaller. It's an honorable, hard-working profession.
Well, you know what though? But you know what though?
I'm just kidding.
Look, it's as parents,
we want better.
Yeah, we're all 3 parents here, right? And so you want your kids to do better than you. And the more successful you are, you raise the bar really high, and you still want them to do better. So people tell me all the time, like, dang, Jay, she's going to be way better than you at this. And I'm like, good, then I'm doing my freaking job right if she's going to be better than me.
You know what? None of my kids followed me into computers.
But it doesn't have to be the same.
No, I did
same
drywall
line of work
for years though. I literally did drywall for years, and it is a harsh job on your body. It beats you up. There's nothing wrong with it if you can physically handle it. But it was, and that's why my dad gave me such a hard time, is I was never really good at drywall because it was a heavily physical job, and I wasn't a super physical kid. But he'd push me hard, and he just you got to realize though that back in my day, computers were like a fad. Like, nobody knew that computers were going to take over the world. So from my parents' perspective, they're like, you're spending your entire day in there doing shit that isn't even a job skill on anything within a 100-mile radius. You're wasting your time. Granted that, I joke about it that I got the last laugh, but I mean, it honestly, from their point of view, I was making a really, really horrible decision, but it just turned out that actually all led me to where I was, and so it's interesting. So I'm never going to look at Xander and just be like, hey, dude, you're not going to be this, you're not going to be this, or you're like that, you'll never be this. I'm going to encourage him to do whatever he wants, because for all I know, whatever the hell he wants to do might be the next big thing, even though I don't understand it.
It's interesting too when we look at our kids. I don't know if you guys have done it, but I know I do, especially now that I have 2 kids. I look at them, And I just kind of like daydream, wondering like, what the heck are you gonna do? Like, what is
Every
gonna
day,
be?
dude.
What is your
Every day.
contribution to society gonna be? And I can't wait to see where you end up. You know what I mean?
Matchbox car sorter.
Now, you see, that's the cool part for me. My four oldest, I see where they're going.
Damn, Ned, you were busy.
My
Okay, keep
oldest
it in your
daughter's
pants?
30.
Jeez.
My
Jeez,
oldest
Ed,
daughter
keep
is
it in your
30,
pants, bro.
and she's in politics.
Mhm.
With my mouth in the family, how could you imagine that?
I bet
my
dinners are
son-
really interesting.
My son is in landscaping and is really good at it.
Mm.
Both of my daughters are in the food service industry right now. But my middle daughter actually makes really good money at doing it. My youngest is still trying to figure out where she wants to go, and then I've got the 10-year-old Raymond that I married into. That is, well, we're still trying to figure his out. He wants to be an engineer.
Yeah.
So
Is he good at math? Does he show math skills?
He's really good at math.
Oh,
He's
cool.
really, really good at math. Just amazing. And to watch him, he sits down at computer games that I sometimes have a hard time figuring out for a little while. Yes, at least 4 times.
Yeah.
I saw that.
At least 4 times. You need a shirt that says I lucky at least 4 times.
Hey, Chris Prill only got lucky once. So
4
God,
times
that's
4 times that you
burning
know
it.
about anyway. You were in the military. There could be times you're not aware of.
I just watch. That's another story for another show. But I watch him sit down at games like at 8, he sit down with Age of Empires, and within about 2 weeks he could beat me at Age of Empires.
Yeah.
It's just amazing to watch the way his brain works. And does it work? You know how 10-year-olds are, and it's kind of cool. We've been all over the place, guys. We got any more tech questions.
We'll get a couple more, but you know what would be a great podcast that I would listen to, honestly? What branch of the service were you in? Navy. So was my dad. How long were you in?
4 years.
Okay, my dad did over 20, but you two on a podcast together talking about your Navy experiences, I'm sure they would be a riot.
I've got stories I can't.
I'm gonna let the cat
projects boat.
I'm gonna let the cat out of the bag on one of his stories. I'm gonna embarrass the hell out of my dad, and I sure as hell hope he's watching. I doubt it.
Oh,
though,
do it! Embarrass him right now.
Because
Hurry
we
up before
moved
he
the
can run
show
to your room.
earlier. So my dad was what, 17 or 18. On the ship, he said that there were always Marines on the boat because the Navy's Marines are a department of the Navy, and so apparently he lost his virginity to a toothless bald woman in Africa because the Marines paid someone in Africa to steal his virginity. And it's a very, very funny story, but he tells the story about him losing his virginity to a
I remember
bald,
he told me that
toothless
story
woman.
when I was down there. That was hilarious.
Yeah, but the funny part is he kept running out of the hut. It was a grass hut. He kept running out of the hut, and they kept throwing him back in. So, yeah, these are the types of stories he plans on telling on his channel.
Yeah. Oh, this is gonna be the greatest podcast that has ever happened.
I'll get Ed and my dad on a show someday and get those two
Nice.
just reminiscing. I'm sure it'd be hilarious. And it always seems to be the Navy. Like the Army, they don't have those kinds of stories. It's the Navy because that's the traveling branch.
Well, yeah, no, my grandpa had some pretty crazy.
Dude, I
ones.
didn't travel that much.
You crazy seaman.
The problem with Navy is they pull into port everywhere in all these different countries.
Yeah.
And
Well,
they
my dad,
get cray-cray.
my dad's been to 48 countries.
That's insane.
Dude, yeah, he's been around the world.
How many grass huts?
Oh yeah. Just one.
Just the one. After that,
That's
he's
the
like,
one
I'm
he's
done.
told you about.
And
You
it's
run out
in-
of the grass hut and so you can be like, my pipes are clean.
Oh man, I think he had to sterilize himself with fire.
Oh, it was in the Philippines?
No, it was South Africa.
Oh my gosh. This is so out of control.
Oh, is that a thing in the Philippines? Did I just miss a joke?
The Philippines, when I was in the 80s, it was just like this general rule that if you went for liberty in the Philippines, you took a penicillin shot before and after.
Mm-hmm.
So
And people were saying, yeah, do it, make a redneck podcast. Guys, Ed's from Illinois and my dad's from Rhode Island. That's not very redneck.
Podcast.
well, I'm a redneck. I'm proud of the fact I'm a redneck.
Dude,
you know,
I grew up redneck.
the first computer workbench I had was a set of cinder blocks.
Nice. I can see
Still
Ed
got
rocking that.
It's like
Jay
my
got
first
the
coffee
joke. That
table.
was great.
Yeah. I have a pretty redneck, but that's because I'm writing all the time. So, all right, Jerry, why don't you give us one or two more questions, and then it's time to wrap this up.
All right, let's do it. David McCowan asks, Barnacles, did you ever get around to fitting your heated bed to your Ultimaker original? All the best from the UK. Actually, I have not. It's something I really, really want to do, though, because that's my only 3D printer that does dual extrusion. And the only reason I'm not using it right now is because it doesn't have a heated bed. Oh, here's a good one from I the Greek. He asked us both. If your house was on fire and everyone was out safe, what piece of technology would you get out and or get on the way out? Like, what would you grab on the way out if you knew your family was safe, everything's good? What one piece of technology would you grab?
I'd grab my bike because I could just write an email and get all this shit again. No, I'm just kidding. I would grab
the most awesome, arrogant thing I've ever heard in my life. He's like, yeah, just let all this shit burn because they'll send it to me again. They're fine. I'll just say it's in the mail.
I would grab my bike. There's nothing I could carry. I couldn't carry Skunkworks out the door quickly. Trust me. Things like anchored to the desk.
I'd probably grab my 3D printer so when I'm on the street corner, I can tap it into the light post and print out little trinkets and sell them on the corner. Funny.
He's out there selling house burning trinkets. Ed,
what'd you grab?
The truth is, if I had to grab one piece of technology, rapid, fast, it'd be my tablet or my phone. That's got all my important information in there. That's got access to my SkyDrives and everything else. And
that's too practical. I use the cloud for all that.
I do too, but that's my point. That's got me. I've got the access. I can continue to function until the new stuff got sent to me.
I would just grab one of my multiple phones, and
Hey, we got a guy in channel who's asked this question a couple of times. If you don't mind, I'd like to take it real quick. He's asking about upgrading.
Ed wants to take it, Jay.
He's looking at an 8350 versus an i7.
That's a terrible question. In fact, we're going to blame him for shutting down the channel today. Guys, the stream is over. The stream is over.
Yep.
All right, go ahead, Ed.
The key to upgrading is this, and this may not be the response anybody wants to hear. If your game experience, if your computing experience is having problems, then it's time to upgrade. If your computing experience is what you want it to be, if your gameplay is smooth, if everything works well, you've got the perfect system, guys. There's no reason to spend the money yet. Save it.
Unless you're like hardcore enthusiasts, and the rest, top tier is all bragging rights. That's all it is.
Well, it is. That's all it is.
Yeah, it's like having the car that's a tenth faster in the quarter.
Right.
It's just your bragging rights, and
or
it took
you even care about the quarter.
And it took you $10,000 to get from a 10-second quarter mile to a 9.8-second quarter mile. It's like it's just bragging rights. So
yeah. So if you've already got the AMD processor and it's doing what you want it to do, then leave it alone. If it's not, then yeah, the i7's a nice upgrade. I don't think you might need it. It just depends on where you're at with your experience.
Yeah. I blew the canned air at the microphone, and now all the headphone wearers are dead. Everyone's rest in peace, headphone wearers. Really, Jerry? Really? All right, so before we get out of here, there's two things we have to do.
What is that? What are we doing?
First of all, today is Linus Tech's birthday, Linus Tech Tips. So everyone go on to Twitter, @LinusTech, and wish him a happy birthday. Everybody, and I do mean everybody.
Yeah, every single person go message him and say happy birthday.
@LinusTech, go and wish him happy birthday. And the second thing is, I don't know, who's causing us to shut down the stream tonight?
You know what? That PC Tech Nick guy was being a real dick the whole time.
Hey, be nice to him. He's a nice guy.
So let's take him. Let's take PC Tech Nick.
Type it in the chat. Type it in the chat. I might have already blocked them. I don't know.
PC
I don't know.
Tech Nick is responsible for taking down the show tonight.
He's a great guy. Leave him alone.
This is the highlight of our week, Ed.
This is the thing we do. This is the thing we do, Ed. Ed, it's free publicity.
Oh,
I'm
PC
sorry,
Tech.
Nick.
Oh, PC Technic. Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, PC Technic needs to. He stopped the stream tonight. It's all his fault, and everybody needs to blame him.
Yeah, because he sent us a private message and was like, "Hey, it's 4:30. Aren't you guys done?"
Yeah, he sent an email saying that he was going to get us DDoSed if we didn't shut the stream down right now.
Oh, wow. I better do it then. All right, so guys, remember, go and wish Linus Tech a happy birthday, and everyone go and hope PC Nick gets off the internet and never comes back.
Yeah, PC Technic, dude, you prepare. Just prepare
All right.
yourself.
All right, we're going to go roll that outro, and Ed, take it away. Go.
Okay, come you win.
Sing now. Do it now. Now.
And you've been listening to Tech Talk, and we're gonna go now because we got other things to do, like eat my steak. So thank you for listening to Tech Talk, and until next time, bye-bye. There you go.
Awkward breathing.